like a spin in the country to take you back to nature? Probably is. I'm used to a little bit more oomph than this. So today's test on Mutant machines is for our two teams to build a motorcycle from this and this in just 8 hours. Well, it's another exciting quarter-final round, so let's welcome back the red team, the Bushwhackers, against the boys in blue, Clematis Quarttro. Now, both these teams are jockeying for a place in the semi-final. Guys, you know the score. You've got to turn these two machines into a mutant, and that is going to be a trike, and a stylish one at that. Oh, and before you start, just mend my puncture. Right, lads, run for your tools. Are you ready when that red light goes green? In 3, 2, 1, go for it.
Judging by their performances in the heats, these two sides are the most evenly matched yet. Clematis Quarttro blasted the opposition to oblivion in the first round with this powerful pressure washer, mutated from a washing machine and a moped. But they know the quarterfinals are a huge step up in class.
I'm not taking anything away from the team who we were up against last time, but I think looking at these guys in years, they've got a bit more experience with the practical side of engineering.
We can all throw ideas at each other, and yeah, we can disagree, we can agree, and then come to the best idea out of the lot.
Lessons that we mainly learned were planning. Try and plan it first, try and put it down on paper.
It's all fun, isn't it? It's meant to be fun anyway, and I think that's the way we saw it, and we got the best out of it.
The Bushwhackers will be hoping to spoil the Blues' fun. They painted their opponents into a corner last time round with this spray machine mutated from a car and a water cooler, and will be hoping to do the same again. But they know there's room for improvement and that they've got a fight on their hands.
I think they're taking on a really big step, and it looks a lot of work to be done in a short amount of time.
It worked very well. Initially we had a few little problems, but after a few slight modifications during these sort of tests, it worked a lot better.
Trying to use the copper pipe for a spray nozzle didn't really work very well until we modified it part the way through the final event.
Keep things simple. Try not to do things that the amount of tools that are available don't allow you to do, which was our failure with the spray gun. The theory was right, the practice wasn't.
So, will the theory and the practice be right this time round? Well, if the planning's anything to go by, they should be. And to start with, it's talk rather than tools. Hold on a minute, lads. Simon has a vision. Come on. I want you to run through that. I got
My vision, I don't know what the team's vision is probably remove the rear axle, move the fuel tank into the front footwell, move the whole top end of the car. So we're using the engine and the front wheels and steering. Use the back end of the bike as the rear wheel and somehow mount it with a lot of framework on the back. So you've just got a rear wheel. So it's a inverted trike basically. So we've got a three-wheeler still, but it's engine powered with one wheel at the back. Like
strange looking, isn't it?
No, the Messerschmitts used to be like that, the old cars.
Yeah, I guess they did, didn't
yes,
they? Yeah,
they did.
Proper little cars, though.
Yes, proper little cars. So we'll see if we can chop this to pieces.
OK, well, that's come to you very early on. I mean, we're only, you know, minutes into the challenge, aren't we?
Yeah, just there, just being smart.
We're going to remove that one and remove that one, and we're going to just build a frame.
But I think we should raise the deck as well, the driving deck a bit, and make it like a sit-up trike, like a big version.
But how are you going to do it?
The Reds come up with a similar plan for a front-to-back trike. Though, unlike the Blues, they don't think a wheel from their mountain bike is going to be tough enough. So they head outside in search of something stronger.
Johnny, what are you trying to do? Take the wheel off?
Yeah. This is going to be the third wheel of our trike.
Oh, now that is a good idea. Chris says that you're going for an extended trike.
I think so, yeah. For some reason.
Can you visualise how that's going to look?
Awesome. That'll be good.
Good to look at, maybe, but how will it handle? The finished three-wheelers must be manoeuvrable enough to negotiate a test track in the Mutant Machine's yard. And with the wrecks of the first round lying dead and dying everywhere, a tight turning circle could be critical. unless, of course, they plan on shifting them all by hand. The Blues are looking for a rear axle for their trike, but the overturned car gives our technical expert, Professor Martin Smith of the Technology Innovation Centre, a chance to explain why it's important both teams don't alter their cars too much.
OK, well, I've drawn a hedgehog's eye view of the car. They have to make sure that the suspension mounts and the engine mounts and the steering mounts and the gearbox mounts have all got to be kept in the same position relative to one another. So they really more or less are forced to keep the whole of the front of the car exactly as it is. Now, if they want to make a tricycle and put a rear wheel here, for example, here's the petrol tank, which, as you see, it goes across the middle of the car. So they had to take this out to put a wheel there if they wanted to. This is the rear axle I was talking about, and here is the main suspension point, which is quite strong, that they really want to keep if they possibly can. They want to hang on to those strong points on the car. Here's the section where the gear lever fits onto, so they want to keep all that in place. And then here are the suspension mounts, this one here and this one here, and you've got a sort of triangle of forces here through this suspension wishbone. And then there's another sort of triangle as through the suspension to the top of the suspension mount through the spring there. So they've got to keep this point, this point, this point and this point all exactly fixed. Otherwise the suspension will all go awry and the car won't work properly.
Which is exactly what both teams want to avoid, and why they're leaving the front ends of their respective Fiestas pretty much untouched. Which is more than can be said for the backs, where it's a slice and dice time, folks. Cutting this later, the Reds are going topless. Theirs is a kind of reverse easy rider look, and the third wheel will be mounted behind the original rear axle on an outrigger frame. Meanwhile, the Blues are going bottomless, or rather backless. When they finish cutting, their third wheel will be fixed just over the driver's left shoulder.
OK, Prof, it's that time of the day when we take a look at what the red and the blue team have done so far, or rather what they've got in store.
Well, what the red team seem to be doing is that taking the roof off and the B-post and putting a big wheel at the back by welding on a large frame of supporting structure. This is quite a good idea because it means they don't need to worry about moving the petrol tank or doing any work under the car. OK,
but it's making a long vehicle. It's an estate version, isn't it?
That's right. It's a long vehicle which has a disadvantage as far as manoeuvrability is concerned. Getting around a slalom track, for example, would be more difficult.
Didn't say that again. OK, what about the Blues?
On the other hand, the blue team have done the opposite. What they've done is they've moved the wheel inwards. So they've got a shorter wheelbase than the original car, and they've left the passenger compartment and just chopped off the back. So it's a much shorter, more compact car, so it'll have better manoeuvrability in a race.
And speaking of races, in the construction stakes, the Reds are very much in the lead. They're putting their trike together, while on the other side of the Mutant Machines factory floor, the Blues are still cutting their car apart. To make it as short and therefore manoeuvrable as possible, they've cut away the entire rear end. But it means they've got their work cut out, if you'll excuse the pun. Remounting this rear axle and reconnecting the petrol tank, fuel line and brake pipes. Clive's not the only one finding it a real struggle. They've cut away so much of their motor that Simon's having to weld on some reinforcement. And as anyone who's ever welded a car will know, joining heavy gauge box section to thin steel sheet is no easy task. With their long but simple design, the Reds are romping ahead. They've finished most of their structural welding and are now fixing the third wheel in place. They'll need more than a tape to measure their lead. Put it this way, the wheels haven't so much come off the Blues' effort, they haven't even been put on yet. At long last, they decided to scrap the idea of using a bicycle wheel because they don't think it'll be man enough for the job. But then welding two car wheels together instead seems to be going to the other extreme.
We're halfway through our Trike trials here at the Mutant Machines quarter-final, and it's time to take a quick break. But when we return, we'll be finding out which team will be one step nearer to making it through to the semis. The team with the spring in their step, I guess. Welcome back to Mutant Machines, where both teams are busy building a trike from a bicycle and this dodgy old motor. It's the quarter-final stages and things are really hotting up. Which team is going to win and who's going to be left hanging in the balance?
At this stage, it looks very much as if it'll be the blue team, Clematis Quarttro, left hanging. Whichever way you look at it, they've got the more complex design. And although shorter may equal more agile when it comes to the all-important testing of the vehicles, that'll only be to their advantage if they can keep it upright.
How steady is it?
Not very, appears to be the answer, if the nervous laughter is anything to go by. So the Bushwhackers are sitting pretty. They're so far ahead that they're ready for a test run.
Perfect. Run's beautiful. We were thinking of going down to the shops to get some pop.
So you don't need to make any adjustments?
No.
What are the brakes like?
Fine. It's only because we cut off the rear brakes and seal the pipes, it's a bit spongy. But as soon as he hits them hard, then they're fine.
Okay.
We disconnected the back brakes because we took the back axle off.
All right. I mean, you seem pretty happy with it, but as yet you don't know what we've got in store for you
we
outside.
don't know what you've got in store, do you know?
So...
But I'm going to pitch your umbrella in case there's water involved.
Okay, what are you going to do with the bodywork? I mean, you know, aesthetics want it to look good. Anything special in mind?
Well, yeah, we're going to respray it if you've got the paint, you know. We've got plenty of time to do it, you know.
You are a bit ahead of the challenge today, aren't you? Okay, all right, well, it's looking good.
Which is more than can be said for the opposition. Their trike has been rolled more often than a rally car, and it's on its side again for more work. This time it's the brakes, essential for the course the professors devised.
Now then, Prof, this is the assault course which both the red and the blue team's Mutant Machines have to endure very soon. It's been an interesting day, really. Things are shaping up to be, well, very similar in some ways, but I think that the shorter wheelbase version from the blue team is going to prove to be the better vehicle around these tyres.
It's certainly more manoeuvrable, and so it'll be easier to back into our little parking area. But as for going around this slalom, yes, it'll be more manoeuvrable, but a short wheelbase vehicle is more liable to turn over.
Oh, to roll. Turn over. Like a plastic pig?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Do you think
so
that's...
they win on swings and lose on the roundabouts.
Right. What kind of problems do you think that the red team are going to encounter with the length of their vehicle?
Well, being a longer car, they're going to have more trouble reversing it into our little garage area there. So that's going to be a disadvantage for the long wheelbase guys.
Who's your money on them, Prof?
I think my money is on the blue team, because although they're more likely to roll over when they go around the bends, they're also more manoeuvrable, and I think that'll win out in the end.
Well, mine was on the blue team too, but I tell you what, them Reds aren't going to like coming second. They're taking this so seriously.
They are, aren't they? They really want to win.
Ooh, could be fisticuffs.
Of course, there'll be no need for fisticuffs if the Blues don't actually finish their trike. But at long last, with only a few minutes of the 8 hours build time left, they're ready to test it.
A bit wobbly at the back.
Back in the workshop, the Reds have finished their trike, but are beginning to sweat for the first time. They've just seen how nippy the competition is and are beginning to wonder whether they should have stuck their heads over the parapet earlier and copied the compact design. Whatever, it's too late to worry.
Okay, time, gentlemen, please. It's time to put down your spray cans, put your tools back in the box, and for Man and Mutant Machine to make their way to the test area outside. Are you listening? Can you hear me? Hey, okay. That green light's going to go to red in 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys, listen up. This is your trike test area, designed to test you all to the max. Now, you're going to be working against the clock, and all 4 team members have to take equal turns in driving the vehicle up or down this slalom course. The red team will go up first, and 2 team members will be at this end, and the other 2 the other end. And I'm now going to show you the route you have to take. Okay, driver, chocks away. You will have to reverse your machine like so into the space provided, and then spin around these tyres, making sure you don't hit them, because if you do, you'll incur a 10-point penalty. Whoa! Are you ready for this? And by the way, hit the big tyres at the end and you'll earn yourself a 20-point penalty. And you wouldn't want to do that now, would you? Okay, red team, it's time to take your marks. Okay, Graham's up first for the red team. Are you ready for this? Ready. All right, off it in 3, 2, 1, go!
As the Professor anticipated, the long wheelbase makes the Bushwhackers trike a trifle hard to handle, first on the reversing test and then on the slalom.
Nice.
With such a beast to manoeuvre and the clock ticking, the Reds can ill afford losing reverse gear or stalling. So it's up to their last man to get down the slalom course as quickly as possible without any more time penalties for hitting the tyre markers.
Okay, red team, come and join me. Dearie, dearie me. Come on, Graham. Chris.
Chris, you handled it very well out there.
I was
nice
just having fun.
Maneuvers.
Well, we didn't have an handbrake, unfortunately, otherwise I think we would have done a lot better. But it was very, very tight, and with there being no lock whatsoever on the car, it was too long. So I thought we might as well have some fun while we're doing it.
But you definitely showed your other team members how to drive a car like
that. Oh, it was good fun.
Nice one, loved it. You hit 2 tyres. Tony, how was it for you out there?
Fun, good fun. Trying to follow Chris, but he drives like that all the time.
I reckon he's done that before, hasn't he?
Just a few times.
And Mark, what about your performance?
Well, it was a bit shabby, stalled it, and that was it.
You need a bit more practice.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So a driving time there of 4:45. Let's check with the prof how many penalties were in place there. Prof, how did they do?
Well, they hit 2 tyres on the first slalom and 1 tyre on the second slalom, so that's a 30-second penalty, which takes them up to 5 minutes 15 seconds.
Okay, that's the time the blue team has to be if they want to spray that champers. Okay, it's time for the blue team's turn. Clive is at the wheel. Are you ready for this, Clive? Okie dokie, that traffic light will change in 3, 2, 1, boot it! There's not much to choose between the two vehicles as far as straight line speed is concerned, but the blue trike turns on a sixpence, and they know that if they can get a clear round, they should win. But remember, there's a 10-second penalty for hitting a tyre and 30 seconds for hitting a car.
On my wagon, and I'm still rolling along.
Okay, we'll have the blue team one side and the red team the other. God, blimey, what a contest that was. It's all about skill and manoeuvrability, isn't it? You both incurred penalties there. The red team hit a couple of tyres and earned themselves 30 penalties. And the blue team, well, you didn't do so good yourselves. You know, and you belted that car over there. We forgot to tell you that was a 30-second penalty as well.
Never mind.
Red team, you did it in a time of 5:15. Blue team, you did it in a time of 3:30. You're the winners. Well done, blue team. Come on, spray that champers, boys. What are you going to say to yourself, Clive?
Absolutely brilliant. Nothing else can be said.
Woo! Okay, and don't forget, join us next time for another mucky mutant machines. I'm out of here.
Thank you very much anyway. Thank you very much anyway. All the best. Thank you very much. I've brought you the first time. So we are next. Anyway, thank you. All the best anyway. I've had the champagne go up my nose and everywhere, I think, but I think it was most enjoyable.